Have you ever spotted a large, powerful animal with shiny black skin, curved horns, and a peaceful look? That's the buffalo. Over 500 million are raised globally, and their rich, creamy milk is collected daily to create the world-renowned buffalo mozzarella, praised for its unique and delicious taste. There's more to it. Modern plants also turn buffalo meat into one of the richest and most distinctive meats around. Curious to see how it all unfolds? Join me as we dive into this captivating process. Buffaloes are considered unique in the livestock world, not only for thriving in humid environments, but also for producing milk packed with nutrients and meat that's naturally high in protein. An adult buffalo can weigh anywhere between 400 and 800 kilos, depending on its breed and how well it's cared for. Unlike cattle, buffaloes grow at a slower pace, but they make up for it with stronger resistance to disease, a longer lifespan, and rich, creamy milk, perfect for producing top-quality mozzarella. The buffalo's journey begins after 10 to 11 months in her mother's womb. Generally, the buffalo gives birth to only one calf at a time. Multiple births are extremely rare. At birth, the baby buffalo usually comes into the world at night or in the early morning in a quiet environment to ensure its safety. It quickly opens its eyes and, within a few hours, tries to stand up to search for its mother's body. Breast milk is its only source of nutrition during the first months of life. The calf needs to stay with its mother and breastfeed for about 6 months before starting to get used to grass and other solid foods. Since buffaloes are primarily raised for milk production intended for human use, the amount of maternal milk left for the calves is often not enough to meet their needs. That's why farmers feed the buffalo calves with formula milk to ensure they get all the essential nutrients. After about 6 months, the young buffaloes are separated from their mothers and placed in individual pens to make handling and care easier. Even then, they continue to receive milk daily while staying in their own designated space. This system helps prevent illness, ensures better control over feeding, and allows for more precise health monitoring. Once the young buffaloes are about a year old, they're ready to rejoin the herd and live alongside the rest of the group. Once the buffaloes are big enough, their main food source becomes straw, the leftover stalks from harvested wheat. Farmers use specialized machines to gather this straw and roll it into large round bales. These bales are then collected by tractors and brought back to the farm. Thanks to this mechanized process, preparing their feed becomes much faster, more efficient, and far less exhausting than traditional farming methods. When feeding time comes, farmers use forklifts to transport the hay bales into a mixing machine, where the straw is combined with other feed ingredients. Corn flour, soy flour, minerals, and salt. This combination guarantees a balanced and nutritious diet, helping the buffalo grow healthy and strong. Once the mixture is ready, the machine is moved inside the stable where buffaloes are. This mixture is then automatically distributed along the edges of the pen, right where the buffaloes typically gather to eat. The feed is spread evenly from one end of the enclosure to the other, making sure all the buffaloes have easy access to their food and ensuring they all eat well. Food is distributed uniformly from one end of the stable to the other, which allows all buffaloes to easily access their ration. The buffaloes align in an orderly fashion, sticking their heads out over the corral to eat the fodder that has already been distributed. Each buffalo can consume between 25 and 30 kilos of food per ration, and farmers usually feed them 2 to 3 times a day. Buffaloes spend a lot of time chewing their food again to aid in digestion. In addition to their regular diet, farmers also pay special attention to the physical and emotional well-being of the buffaloes. In modern farms, automatic massage systems are installed at various points throughout the stalls, allowing the buffaloes to approach them whenever they wish. When they rub against these devices, they gently begin to massage, helping to clean the skin, stimulate blood circulation, and reduce stress. Thanks to these daily moments of relaxation, the buffaloes feel more comfortable. Since they are animals that love water and are especially sensitive to heat, their daily baths are essential for their well-being. With specific times set for this activity, farmers open the pens and allow the herd to roam freely toward artificial ponds, specially designed within the farm. The stronger and more energetic buffaloes run enthusiastically and dive into the cool waters to refresh themselves, cleanse their bodies, and relax their muscles. Bathing typically takes place in the morning, between 9 and 10, or in the afternoon between 3 and 4, depending on the day's weather. These times are chosen because the sun isn't as strong, preventing heat stress and allowing the buffaloes to cool off and rest. Bathing not only helps keep them cool, but also improves their mood and overall health, which in turn supports better milk production. After bathing, the buffaloes are led to the milking area. They begin producing milk around 8 to 9 months after giving birth, depending on the breeding care received. The buffaloes are then directed to a rotating automatic milking system where platforms move slowly in circles, allowing the process to be continuous. Before milking, farmers carefully clean each udder with a clean cloth and warm water, removing dust and ensuring good hygiene. Once the udders are clean, the farmers position the buffaloes correctly in the automatic milking system. This system operates smoothly, generating a rhythmic suction that mimics the natural milking motion. This stimulates the mammary glands without causing pain to the animal. Compared to cow's milk, buffalo milk is thicker and contains a higher percentage of fat and protein, which gives it a creamier flavor and makes it ideal for the production of cheeses and yogurts. On average, each buffalo produces between 4 and 6 liters of milk per session. The rotary milking system increases productivity and allows several animals to be milked continuously without causing congestion. The milk is then drawn efficiently and flows directly into stainless steel tanks, where it is temporarily stored before being processed. Once milking is complete, the automatic system gently releases the buffaloes from the udders without causing pain or discomfort. The animals then calmly leave the milking area, walking peacefully without needing to be hurried. They return to the herd to continue eating or resting as usual. On average, the entire milking process takes about 7 minutes per animal. Right after, the milk is transported directly to the processing plant for cheese production, ensuring no milk is wasted. When the milk arrives at the processing plant, a sample from each batch is taken directly from the storage tank for an initial inspection. These samples are sent to a specialized laboratory where technicians analyze key indicators such as fat content, protein levels, and the presence of impurities and bacteria. Only when the milk meets all the quality standards is it allowed to enter the next stage of processing. The milk is then transported directly into the plant through a fully enclosed stainless steel piping system. These pipes are tightly connected to prevent any leakage or contamination during transport. Once inside the plant, the milk flows into large stainless steel tanks specially designed for handling fresh milk. In this stage, the milk undergoes a pasteurization process, a crucial step that eliminates harmful bacteria by heating the milk to a specific temperature for a short period of time without compromising its nutritional value. This process extends the product's shelf life and ensures its safety for human consumption. After pasteurization, the milk is cooled in the tank. Then, a special ingredient called rennet, which can come from the stomachs of young calves or microbial sources, is added. This ingredient is essential to begin the coagulation process as it alters the structure of the proteins, causing the casein molecules to bind together and form a solid mass, which serves as the base for producing cheese and other dairy derivatives. Once the rennet is added, the automatic stirring system kicks in, gently but consistently mixing the milk to ensure the coagulant is evenly distributed throughout the tank. This stirring process typically lasts between 30 and 40 minutes, depending on the recipe and the type of product desired. The continuous and controlled agitation ensures even coagulation and prevents the milk from forming irregular clumps. Then the milk is left to rest for about 30 to 45 minutes to allow the natural coagulation, forming a soft, uniform mass known as curd. Once the curd reaches the desired consistency, the automatic mixing arms are activated again to gently cut the mass into small pieces, roughly the size of a grain of corn or a bean. This cutting process allows the separation of the whey from the solid curd, while also helping the cheese develop a firmer structure. As the small curd pieces begin to compact, they are gently heated to continue expelling the whey, which helps the cheese take on a more defined shape. Once the whey separation process is complete, the stainless steel tank automatically tilts to pour out the large blocks of curd that have formed. These blocks are carefully placed onto large stainless steel trays, where they are prepared for the next step in the molding process. This is a crucial stage before the cheese is pressed and processed further in the production stages. The stainless steel trays holding the cheese are then moved to the cutting area, where machines automatically cut them into uniform pieces. This cut helps facilitate the next step in the process, enhancing and refining the texture of the cheese. After the cheese blocks are cut, they are fed into a specialized grinding machine where sharp blades rotate at high speeds, quickly shredding the cheese into fine, uniform strands, ready for further processing. Once shredded, the cheese is introduced into another machine designed to create the soft and elastic texture characteristic of mozzarella. During this process, water is added to help soften the cheese, making it easier to mold. At this point, it takes on an elastic consistency that can be stretched. Once the desired elasticity is reached, the cheese is placed into another machine that shapes it into characteristic forms, such as round balls. The mozzarella ball forming machine works by stretching the hot, elastic cheese through round molds, creating uniform, precise cheese balls. These balls then drop through the machine's holes and flow directly into a tank of cold water. This cold water not only helps to cool the cheese quickly, but also ensures that the cheese maintains its soft, elastic texture and prevents sticking. The cold water helps eliminate excess heat, keeping the cheese fresh and preserving its elasticity, which is essential for achieving the highest quality product. The conveyor belt carries the cheese balls to the packing area, while also allowing the cheese balls to drain as they move along the belt. An automatic cheese ball distribution machine evenly arranges the cheese balls into plastic containers, ensuring that each container holds a precise amount. These plastic containers are then moved along another conveyor belt for the next steps in the process. Water is added to the containers to help preserve the cheese's freshness for a longer period. Finally, the containers are carefully placed into boxes for distribution. Next, we will visit a buffalo meat processing plant in India, where the buffalo meat is processed. The buffaloes are unloaded from the trucks and enter the plant's reception area, where they are taken to resting areas to reduce stress. Hundreds of buffaloes remain calm, waiting their turn to be transferred for processing. Indian cuisine, have you ever tried buffalo meat? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments. It's not easy to try buffalo, especially when it migrates to America. The workers perform a preliminary health evaluation on each buffalo to ensure quality. Then the buffaloes are taken to an immobilization machine, leaving only their heads exposed for processing. After processing, the meat is hung on a conveyor belt. Meanwhile, the workers take the buffalo's stomach and place it on the conveyor belt. The buffalo meat is introduced into a cutting machine to be split in half with precision. The workers use the cutting machine to divide the meat into 2 uniform blocks. The buffalo meat blocks are moved to the processing area to continue with the buffalo's processing. The workers separate the meat, removing only the lean, high-quality cuts. Then the meat is cut into smaller pieces, its quality is verified, and it is prepared for the next steps. Finally, the meat blocks are evenly divided and packaged, ready for distribution and consumption. In addition, buffalo meat is taken to a freezing area at -18 degrees Celsius for 3 days for long-term storage. After reaching the required temperature, the meat is removed and taken to the canning area. The laminating process guarantees hygiene and product quality before export. Once completed, meat cans are loaded by employees onto trucks, preparing for transportation. The meat is finally exported to the United States to supply the consumer market. Remember to follow the channel and subscribe to stay updated with more interesting stories. See you in the next videos.